coming up.
I cannot comprehend how somebody can be so depraved, so evil. He's just destroyed my entire life.
Married to a monster.
He's a psychopath, hiding in plain sight.
The grotesque secret.
A naked man doing indescribable things.
This evil man kept from his wife.
So that's how he was getting rid of the evidence?
Yes.
That's next on 60 Minutes. This story is hard to tell, and I need to warn you, it will be hard to watch. It's about the grotesque crimes of Dr Adam Britton. Publicly, Britton portrayed himself as a wildlife warrior, a Darwin-based crocodile expert who made nature documentaries. At times, he even worked alongside Sir David Attenborough. But he hid a despicable secret. In 2022, he was arrested, accused of vile acts of animal cruelty, and last month was sentenced to 10 years in jail for the rape, torture, and killing of as many as 42 dogs. For 2 years, Britton's wife, Erin, has stayed silent about the man she once loved. Tonight, she grapples with a terrifying truth. She was married to a monster. This is a confronting and painful moment for Erin.
No,
as she struggles to put into words the indescribable crimes of her husband, celebrated zoologist Adam Britton. Anyone in her extraordinary situation would be the same.
I cannot comprehend still how somebody can be so depraved, so evil, and how he's just destroyed my entire life.
Anyone who thinks that I'm crazy, maybe they're right, but at the end of the day, well, I don't know.
To the world, Britton was a devoted husband and a renowned wildlife scientist driven to study and protect animals.
I live in Darwin, which is in Northern Australia, and I have got 5 crocodiles and 2 dogs and my wife who run a business with me. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Help, I'm being attacked, and other adults will come in and rescue.
In truth, he was a monster who raped, tortured, and killed pet dogs trustingly put into his care.
We've got an audience.
I love to hurt dogs. I live for it. I can't stop myself hurting dogs.
From the red dirt of the Northern Territory to the streets of Ohio, what you're about to see is the culmination of an international police investigation that took detectives to the darkest corners of the web to catch society's most depraved.
This isn't an Australia problem, this isn't a United States problem, this is quite honestly a worldwide problem.
It's going to be hard for me to go back because there's so much I loved about that property and it was amazing, and it's part of me. Everything in my world changed.
Could this be the last time you see it?
Yeah, you think so?
For the first time in 2 years, Erin is returning to the home she shared with her then husband, Adam Britton.
Wow. So, yeah, it's a very shaded place. There's plenty of trees. I'm very proud of a lot of the native trees.
It was here, on the outskirts of Darwin, the scientists kept crocodiles.
Say hi, Erin.
Hey, everybody. I'll come get the camera.
Not so unusual in these parts.
Here he is. I'm blind.
They ran a wildlife consulting business and rubbed shoulders with Prince Harry and David Attenborough, while their crocs were the stars of many documentaries.
There's something about getting in the water with a crocodile. Half of your brain sits there thinking, okay, I know there's a barrier there. The other half sits there thinking, I'm about to get eaten.
In Adam, a wildlife academic, Erin felt she'd met her soulmate. She had no inkling he was leading a double life, or that he was about to be exposed. Erin was away on a work trip when, at 6:30 a.m. on the 22nd of April 2022, police, led by Detective Sergeant Mark Cronin, raided their home and arrested Adam Britton.
It's still going to take a long time to process this crime scene. It's a big block, obviously.
I could probably only describe him as very, very calm. There was, not much said, complied with directions. And he was then advised, that he was in police custody for the purposes of a search warrant.
Case may be. Sure. And given the gravity of this investigation, it's likely going to be a long time. Okay.
Did you see any chink in him? Did you see any sense of shame or panic?
No, look, outwards anyways, he was certainly a very calm man.
Can I assist with the investigation once I've spoken with my lawyer?
I was away at the time. I had no idea why or what the crimes were, had no knowledge at all. And I didn't find out until I spoke to his lawyer the following morning.
What did she say?
She told me that there were crimes of animal cruelty, and obviously there was bestiality. And when she told me bestiality, my brain was like, denial? No. And hearing that information is the most awful thing you could ever hear about your partner. It was so shocking, and I felt sick. I couldn't speak. I couldn't think. My brain was having trouble processing and understanding how such a horrible thing could even exist in the world, and then to find out that this was relating to him.
Did you believe the lawyer?
The way she explained it to me, she told me that she'd seen screenshots of images.
Adam Britton's horrific offending was well planned. Over 18 months, he sourced 42 dogs from the online classified site Gumtree, pretending to offer loving care for pets who needed rehoming. In reality, he was a sadist who, after sexually violating the dogs, tortured them to death. What sort of weapons did he use to hurt and then kill those animals?
It did include knives. It included tools, wooden objects, as well as, saws and fish hooks and pretty much anything you can imagine, and probably things you cannot.
My God, what is it like for you and your team to investigate something like that?
Well, I think simply for our team, we daily investigate horrendous crimes, but certainly for us, this was very unique.
But it was Britton's need for an audience that would prove his undoing. He filmed his many hours of offending on multiple cameras, uploading his videos to his deviant fan base. Britton hid his face and went by usernames Monster and Cerberus, the latter known in Greek mythology as the multi-headed hound of hell. But Britton slipped up. An appalled anonymous viewer tipped off animal welfare.
With that email was a 15-minute video of a naked Caucasian man in the bush doing indescribable things to dogs.
What made the animal welfare agency believe it was in Australia?
Within that video was, an adult female dog and at least 8 puppies. But what sort of led it to us was that the adult female dog was wearing an orange lead or leash, and that lead had "Great Pets Starts With You" written across it. That happens to be the Darwin City Council slogan for pets.
And that's where it started?
That's why it came to us, that tiny bit of information, yes.
Detective Cronin heads up the Northern Territory and AFP's joint anti-child exploitation team. He's used to hunting down pedophiles, and he relied on that vast experience to catch Adam Britton.
So for us, it was an old school victim identification that ultimately led to the identity of the victim in this matter being a dog.
On that dark day back in April 2022, following the arrest of Britton, Erin returned home to be confronted with evidence of her husband's hideous crimes. Police had discovered dog remains in their freezer.
He was mostly likely feeding those to the crocodile.
So that's how he was getting rid of the evidence?
Yes, of course.
But Britton had been arrested before he could clean up entirely, leaving trestle tables and camera tripods set up here where it's believed some of the torture was filmed.
How is that possible that somebody can possibly... That is frightening. I still feel sick knowing that somebody was capable of things like that. That's not something I'll ever be able to get over, and I just can't.
And that somebody was your husband?
Yeah.
But how something so brazen and so deviant could go unnoticed in one's own home raises an uncomfortable question. Like, did anybody suggest that surely you knew about it, or you should have known about it, that you were covering up for your husband? What is it about crocodiles that you seem to like so much?
Crocodiles are just fascinating. They can be shy, they can be curious, and there's just so much to share.
Erin is a wildlife scientist who, with her then husband, zoologist Adam Britton, specialised in the study and promotion of crocodiles.
Your brain suddenly starts to think, Adam, what's going on here? We're in the water with a wild crocodile.
The world took him at face value.
I was extremely proud of the business that we'd created. We worked with a lot of natural history film shoots, and we were really involved with showing crocodile behaviour that had never been seen before.
What crocodiles have been able to do over their evolution is they've been able to fine-tune and perfect.
I mean, Adam was such a public face of your business and the research and welfare of wildlife. Nobody knew what was happening behind the scenes. Nobody knew the private man.
Yeah, hiding in plain sight, absolutely.
As an international police investigation would uncover, the private Adam Britton was reprehensible. Callous and calculating, he loved hurting animals, in particular dogs and their puppies. But for years, he fooled everyone, including his wife. Like, did anybody suggest that surely you knew about it, or you should have known about it, that you were covering up for your husband?
That's the question I've been asking myself every day, is why did I not know? What did I miss? What have I, scratching my head, trying to play back events of the last few years to see if there's any detail or anything, but there's nothing.
It's hard to fathom, isn't it? That you think, I guess you thought you knew him really well.
Yeah. We were living in separate rooms at that time. We would still had a very close bond, partnership, friendship, but it'd been a number of years since we were romantically together. So he was spending a lot of time on his computer, and when I'd talk to him, and he was quite withdrawn, increasingly so.
Erin's own work as a wildlife specialist often took her on long expeditions far from home. The Northern Territory's Detective Sergeant Mark Cronin discovered Britton's worst offending occurred when Erin was away.
There was certainly nothing uncovered during our investigation that suggested she had anything to do with it or even, knew anything about it. I think, if anything, it was probably quite the opposite, that it was, steps were taken to make sure she was unaware.
Yeah, she maintains that she had no sense that he was even capable of this. You believe her when she says that?
I certainly do, yeah.
But there was one secret place where Adam Britton could be his true self, where his sexual attraction to animals was lauded and his vile acts celebrated.
I love to hurt dogs. I live for it. I can't stop myself hurting dogs.
He created streaming channels on the dark web, trading hundreds of animal images and videos and giving tips to his sick fans.
You have to be smart about where you get them from. Don't go to a shelter. Private sales only.
In tracking down Britton, police uncovered a community of like-minded sadists, including 27-year-old Lucas Van Wert from Ohio, who was known online as Graves.
We ended up finding videos relating to 4 or 5 different animals that died at the hands of Graves, filmed in the United States. We contacted them and said, hey, we might have an investigation that we need you guys to look at.
Like his Australian counterparts, Special Agent Jason Guyton had the distressing task of reviewing explicit and disgusting material to enable him to hunt down Graves. And what was that process like for you?
I've done child exploitation investigations for 15 years, and I've seen the worst of society and the worst of what people can do. It was just something a little bit different with the video files that were created here. Just very difficult material to look at and to watch.
Yes, you still seem affected by it.
Yeah, it's certainly a difficult thing to shut off. Yeah, it's something that will never go away.
In the US, justice was swift and significant. Lucas Van Wert was sentenced to 8 years in jail, and the manhunt for other offenders in his and Britton's circle continues.
It's not isolated to just Lucas and to Adam. This is something that is occurring throughout the world. This isn't an Australia problem. This isn't a United States problem. This is, quite honestly, a worldwide problem.
I describe crocodiles like Ferraris. They're just extremely finely honed creatures.
In 2023, this internationally acclaimed scientist pleaded guilty to 63 offences. They included possession and transmission of child exploitation material. Authorities believe, though, unlike animals, Britton never physically harmed children. Do you have any insight into that?
Nothing. No. Yeah, it's, no. I've only found out recently that my former pets, they've passed on during that period. Were probably victims. And I feel just terribly sad for them.
Awaiting sentencing, Britton wrote letters to Erin from his prison cell.
It's very, very disturbing. It's a very clear example.
They're extraordinary for their blasé and business-as-usual nature, ignoring completely his crimes. So he's writing to you here about books he wants to read.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking to read some good non-fiction books about dog domestication, breed, history, behaviour and associated sciences. For example, there's one called The Wolf in Your Living Room or On Your Couch or something like that. There must be several on this related subject. Is he kidding? I mean, how could he even put that sentence in a letter to you?
This messes with my head. Yeah, really, really disturbing. And especially considering his crimes, that he's writing this about this as if he can sort of continue his fantasies in his mind, and makes me really angry.
So angry, Erin refuses to read any more of his letters, and she is grieving the life he stole from her.
He is a psychopath. He doesn't have any consciousness of what is right or wrong. I feel like I've lost so much of my life, and I feel like I've been completely duped. I'm angry and I'm upset, and there's nothing I could have done. But yeah, it's very, very disturbing.
There was nothing Erin could do because Adam Britton was always this way. As he recently told psychologists, he remembers an unusual interest in animals from the age of 6. Forensic psychiatrist Dr Rajan Darji has reviewed Britton's detailed psychological assessment. Britton's been diagnosed with several deviant sexual conditions, including zoophilia, a sexual attraction to animals, and zoosadism, where sexual pleasure is derived from cruelty to animals. The reaction, I'd imagine, is one of horror, and most people just disregard him as a sicko, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, that's the reaction that you would have to someone like him, and those kind of reactions, although they're completely understandable, don't help you understand someone psychologically. They don't help you understand the behaviour. And all of us are we're not responsible for what we're sexually attracted to. No one is. You're sexually attracted to what you're sexually attracted to. But all of us have a responsibility for dealing with our urges and managing them appropriately.
Hello everyone, Adam here.
Last month, Adam Britton was sentenced to 10 years and 5 months in prison with a non-parole period of 6 years for raping and torturing 42 dogs, intentionally killing at least 39 of them. He's also banned for life from having anything to do with dogs. For Erin, who considers her ex-husband to be a serial killer, no sentence could ever be enough.
Here is a situation which is off the scale, off the charts. It's never been heard of. How do you deal with something like that with the existing laws and framework? And that is something that, I guess, in this scenario, nobody's ever going to be comfortable with. There's no way, how to deal with that. Thank you all. It's a pleasure to be here.
With the court case now done, Erin is committed more than ever to her wildlife work, fighting to toughen the laws against those who hurt animals. And she's finally accepted she no longer needs to try to understand the incomprehensible.
I'm still here. I still have to continue living. And I feel there's quite a sense of energy about me, a fury that, I will do something with my life, and that's fight for wildlife, fight for animals.
I guess it's also important that it's his shame, not your shame.
This does not represent who I am, and I know, that I will fight harder in every endeavour I do. Because if there's such darkness in the world, then there also has to be light. And I believe we have to fight for the good things.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.